the previous 2 days workshop is already taken, and where we have covered a lot of JavaScript topics, basic topics that should be essential for becoming a front-end developer. Whatever the topic that we have taken, it's taken. So now what we're going to do, we're going to see about the balance thing, and then we move on to the year 6 concept to covering this next day. Okay, so today we're going to end up with the all the basics concepts and all. So we left with loops in last class. We have left with loops, and today we're going to start with loops, and then we're going to see about what all are the iterators, and we just move on to what is the different scopes, and we're going to see about all the ES6 concepts and all. We're going to explore that. Let's get started. If you have any doubt, just give me here, so I will reply to your comments often. Okay, so I will check the comment often, and you can able to see whatever the doubts that you have come here, you can able to tell it here, and let's check. Okay, we will go for JSBin to work out. Okay, so and also the same procedure, it's going to be the continuous class. So I hope that all the people who are attending the JavaScript continuously will be there. So what is the procedure? We will give you a live attendance sheet. Once you, if you fill that form, you will get an attendance form at the end of the 4 days. Okay, and make sure that if your content it's worth valuable, just give a like and subscribe. That will give more motivation to do more contents and more topics and all. Okay, so the lot of things are coming in the upcoming in our channel, like you can check it out. Like, okay, so yeah, if it everything's fine and you are just getting, just give me welcome or any welcome message, that will be great. Okay, so we can interact with that. Okay, so last class we have discussed about for loop, and we're going to start with that, and we're going to see about how to iterate the loops, how to use the loops with the data structures like arrays, objects, like that. How can we use that? That is what we're going to discuss. Okay, so we know that for loop we have already discussed. What are the things that we need to for creating a for loop? We need to give the for, and the next thing is we need to give an initiation, semicolon, semicolon. We need to give the condition. We need to give the condition. Okay, just a minute. I will check my.
Most people don't know this, but the piecewise.
Yeah. Yeah, my voice is audible. I'm just checking my voice, that's it. Okay, so we will get started. So what I just going to do, what we are going to do, we just go with the loops. So and then we need to give the increment and decrement operator to based upon your based upon your condition, we need to give this. Okay, so increment or decrement operator, and here you need to write the block of code, right? So what is the example that we have already seen? Like I need to run my name in the console for 10 times, so that is the condition, and we need to frame. So what here, it is going to be the console, and what is the name is going to be Hari. So I need to print it. So how we can do here, initiation, I just say initiate a variable that I is equal to 0. And here what is the condition? The condition is based on what condition should the code should perform. If the value of I is less than 10, then the code should be performed. So you can notice that value of I is equal to 0, so it is going to be true. So then the code will, the code is going to execute. So this is what going to happen. So then what is for the increment and decrement? So I already spoken about this. What is that? So in some point of you are creating a loop, then in some point of you need to create a finite loop, not an infinite loop. In some point of time we need to stop that loop. So this increment and decrement operator, it's going to helpful for us. So if I increase the value, then at the 10th value it is going to stop, because if 10 is less than 10, then it's going to be false. So for that, here we need to use the decrement. For example, you use minus 10, then you can go with the decrement. Okay, so it depends upon the condition. So I just say I plus plus. So what is the plus plus? It is a post incrementer. So once this is done, you check for the condition, the code is going to execute, and it is going to increase the value by 1. So then what happened? It is again go and it check with the newly updated value, and it check for it, and it is going to run, and we're going to run it, and once it reaches 9, so it is going to true, 9 is less than 10, so the code is get executed, and you can see the increment operator has increased the value to 10. So 10 is not less than 10, so the loop is get break, so it is not going to work. So the next second thing, how we can check whether it is still how where which value it is get stack, you can give the, you can call the index, because based on this only based on this only we are accessing it. So we can call those variables, so we can able to see that what is that. So this is going to be the value that is incremented. So first it is 0 and it is incremented to 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see at 9, that's it, that is the lastly incremented value, and the loop gets stopped afterwards. Okay, so that is what it is going to do. Okay, so let's see how we can apply the same structure in iterating, like loop throwing an array. For example, I have const, I just have array, and here I just going to create an array, so with the list I just say apple, orange, don't care about the typos which I'm typing. Okay, so apple, orange, and we can go for grape, like that. Let us consider we have an hundreds of arrays like that we going to have. So how I can able to use, we can able to use the loop, and what we can do, we can able to iterate each and every element in the row. So if normally what I do, I just what we go, we just use the console.log, and how we access the array, we just want to tell array and their indexes. So how I need to do this automatically means, we can be able to do this here. Instead of this I just going to remove this one, and here I am declaring a variable, let I is equal to 0. If I is, instead of giving 10 the constant value, what I going to do, I just going to say arr.length. What is this arr.length? We know that array has certain methods and property. Among them, one property is going to be the length property. By using that, it is going to tell the count of the items inside the array. So if I say console.log and arr.length, and what I'm going to do, I just going to comment this one. If I clear and I run it, you can able to see 3. So this is the items that we have, right? So this is the count of the item that we have. So it is going to return the length. So why we are using this one? Because this is going to be dynamic. So why I'm saying dynamic? Because in future, suppose the data get updated. So we don't want to come and tell that, okay, so this is 10 unit, now it is updated 3 value to go for that. We don't want to tell that. If I say arr.length, then what it is going to be, it is automatically going to take the values, the length proper, how many items that are in, it is automatically going to take it. So I don't want to care about that. That is why we are using the arr.length. So now what it is going to do, we created a variable I is equal to 0 and I is less than arr.length, then the code is going to execute. So here what we can say, what is the thing, I need to iterate each and every item. So I just say arr index, and if I give 0, then it is going to be apple. Then if I give 1, it is going to be orange, and it is going to be grape. So it is going to run the loop for 3 times. So for example, if I give 0, and once I done and I run it, you can see apple, 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 right? So if I change this to 1, now what it is going to do, this loop is going to run for 3 times, because that is the condition we give. So I value is going to increment every time it loop through, and here the condition is, if I value is less than 3, that is going to be the condition. If I say 1, so you can able to see 3 times the loop is run, and that's it, it will be executed. So I don't want like this. I don't want to fetch everyone. So first time it is going to be apple, second time is going to be orange, and third time is going to be grape. How can I do that? So instead of giving directly the value, we can able to give this a variable. Here we can give the variable I. Why we are giving the variable I? You can closely look at what is the value that it has. It has 0, and every time the loop runs, the values get increased. So here in the index, I mentioned the variable 0. Then it's going to be fetch the apple, and once it get increased, the value is going to be 1. Then it's move on to orange, and if it is get increased, let us go for 2, and it is move on to grape. So likewise, every time is get increased. So instead of getting the same value, what we going to do, first time it is 0, second time it is 1, third time is grape, and if it is 100 time the array is extended, it is going to do that. It is going to fetch that. If I done it, you can see apple, orange, and grape. This is called as iterating array. So this is called as iterating array. So this is how we are iterate the arrays and all. So this is the one of the former loop that we have, like the one of the oldest loop that we have. So that is going to be for loop, and after that we have while loop. So what is this while loop? Exactly the same thing how for loop works, while loop also work exactly the same thing. But what is the difference? The difference is in the structure of it. You can able to see the flow. First we need to declare it, and then you need to check the condition. Afterwards, instead of going for the third parameter, first it will execute the code and then it's go for the third parameter. You can see the zigzag, right? So we can able to see that, right? So in while loop, it is a little bit straightforward. We can tell first check the condition, or like first initiate it, check the condition and increment it. Likewise, we can structure it. We don't want to confuse. Okay, so this 1, this is 2, and come down, this is 3, and then go for up, this is 4, like that. Instead of having doing this, we can able to do this. Let's see how we can able to do the exact code what we have done with for loop. We will do with the while loop. First, initiation. So what we going to do, I just going to create a variable that I is equal to 0, and second, it's going to be condition. So here we use the while loop, so I just say while. So this is going to be the keyword that you need to use for while loop. What is the condition? If I value is less than ARR. If I value is less than ARR dot length, then the code should be executed. So whatever the code that you need to write, you can write it here. So what is the code that I need to write? This is the code that I need to write. So I'm just going to paste it here. Once it is done, what I need to do, I need to increment the value, because if I don't increment the value, then I already said it is going to be an infinite loop. So if the loop is going to run infinite times, so the memory in our browser get the memory, the storage of the memory is going to be full, and also it happens the stock overflow. So what is going to be stock overflow? For example, if you are calling, if you are telling the browser I need to execute something, so every time there is two things there in our browser, like one is call stack, another one is going to be memory heap. Okay, by doing this, the call stack, you can able to see the stock overflow. So what it will do means, so the call stack is simply every time you are executing something, so it will come to the call stack and it will execute it. So if you give multiple times, so it don't have time to execute all the things, so it is like a limited space. So once it is completed it action, it will remove it, but here it is going to run repeatedly, so the stack is get full and it get overflow. So which means it is not going to execute any more action. So that is what going to happen. So make sure that when you are creating a loop, you need to give the finite loop. You need to tell where to stop it. So here, if I give the I++, then what it is going to do? It is going to stop it. So why? Because the value is going to be increment, and that is exactly what I want, because you can able to see that I is equal to index. I is going to be index. I don't want to jump from 1 to 3, 3 to 5, like that. I don't want to. I want to increase the value by one time, because then only I can able to access everything. So once I clear it, if I run it, you can able to see the exactly the same thing. So this is going to be the while loop. Little bit structure, syntactic sugar is also there, little bit structure. The reason for loop, we have more chance of getting errors. You can see the semicolons, sometimes we miss it, and the flow structure, sometimes this also we can able to miss it. So that is why we can able to have the flow structure. Okay, so here it is going to be while loop. So once we done that, what is the next loop we have? So here we see another for loop and we have while loop, and this is a little bit very easy only, but it may cause some of the error, like that. So while loop, it is the syntactic error that caused it from the for loop, and we have a different loop that is going to be do loop. So here you can see the flow of it. First, initiate, check for the condition. If it is true, execute the code, and then increment or decrement. That is what happened. But we have another loop that is a do while loop. So what it will do, it is not a syntactic sugar, it flow also different. So what is the flow also different? For example, in do while loop, first what we will do means, first we will execute the code, and then what we do, directly without checking condition, no, we execute the code and then we do increment or decrement, whatever thing I want to do, and then only I will check it. So here we will give the while loop, and here we will give the condition to check it. So by doing this, what is going to happen? Let's see what we can able to do. I just do this one. Okay, so I'm going to do this one. So how we can able to do this? So first I need to execute the code. So what is the code that I want to execute? This is the code that I need to execute, right? And it is going to be increment the value, right? It is going to be increment the value. And what is going to be the condition? And the condition is going to be if I is less than length. And you can notice that, you can see, if we clear and run it, sorry, I think okay, so yeah, we need to tell the initiate. Okay, so I is less than 10, like this. So once we done it, we will run it. You can able to see exactly the same thing. What is different? First I'm executing I is 0, so apple, right? And it is going to run the code, and it is going to increment the value. Now it is going to be 1, and it is going to check the condition. Yeah, of course it is less than true, and it is going to do the exactly same thing, right? So then what is the difference? What is the difference? The difference is when I make the condition false. For example, if I say I is equal to 9, it needs to start from 9. But here you can see what is the condition. 9 is less than 3, it's false, right? But you can see the weird thing here. If I run it, like, okay, so right now we put the index is equal to 0, like we are accessing array. So I just going to, instead of accessing array, I just going to type the name. Okay, like this. If I run it, you can see my name here. So that is the weird thing. Why means even the condition is false. Even the condition is false. The do while loop run at least one time. The reason for is because it is executing first and then only it is checking it. So the same thing, if I do it in my while loop, it is not going to work. The reason, because the while loop check for the condition first, and then what it is doing, it is logging into the console, and then it is doing the increment operation, decrement operation, and all. Like you can see, if I run it, you can see nothing's happened. The reason, I is 9 is not less than the length of array that we have, right? So it is not going to execute, right? So this is going to be a false statement. It is not going to execute. Even though if I put my name here, it is not going to execute. Okay, so that is what is going to happen. So but in do while loop, it will run at least only one times. Even the condition is false, even whatever it is, the condition is going to be false. It is going to run at least one times, and then it is going to check the condition. So that is the problem with it. So in some cases, not some cases, in some kind of works, we will use we use do while loops and all, but mostly not. Okay, so the reason for it is because once it is for authentication, so much of things, once the condition is true, then only I will execute. In some cases, for example, we have an application, I need to access the user first, and after 5 minutes I need to run the loop, and I need to give a notification like that. So then you can check the condition, like if the user is sign up or not, or login or not, like that we can able to check it. Okay, right now don't confuse, you can just understand the flow. This is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 3. So these are the three loops that are available to work with loops. Okay, so not with array. So for iterating array is one of the functionality of loops. Okay, so but loops is used to much more. We can able to use loops for much more. It automatically do it. So like we can able to use that. Okay, so the next thing what we going to do, we're going to see about array iterators. Iterators. So what is that? So right now we discussed about for loop, while loop, and do while loop, how to iterate the array. What is iterating? So fetching each and every element, right? So but here you can notice that they are procedural way of writing code. We need to tell where to start, we need to tell what is the condition, and we need to tell where to stop, right? So like a spoon feeding, right? So that is not good. I'm not saying that is not good, but we have something more to iterate, to work with array, especially for work within array. We have something more. What is that? They are called as array iterators. Among them, we're going to see three things. One is going to be for each, and map, and then filter. And then we have some other things like reduce, sum, find. So much of things is there, but this three things is very important when it comes to React. We're going to work with in the next week. Okay, so that is why I'm saying. Okay, let us see. So by using this method, what we can able to do mean we can easily iterate those values inside the array. Instead of using the for loop telling where to start, conditions, where to stop, like that, what we can do, we can automatically do this. For example, what is the syntax means? First I'm going to use the for each loop, how to use the for each loop, and we can able to do that. So what is the syntax for that is, first you need to tell the what is going to be the array, and you need to say for, you need to use the for each method, and this method carries a function. This method is going to take a function, and this what the for each method do. So whatever we are writing inside this function, it take the function and it is going to run on each and every element, each and every elements in an array. So for each method, what it is do, here we will define what is the array is going to be. For example, the array is going to be a or r. So here I say for each, and here we have function. So what the for each method do? So right now we declared it is going to be, we need to use the function for each method for this array. So for each method, take this function, going to take this function, and what it is going to do, it is going to run on each and every element in an array. That is what going to do. And for that, this function is going to have three things. One is going to be the value, which means the each and every value, like three parameters, to, because it is going to run it on each and every element, right? So what are the things that we have access? One is value. The first parameter is going to be value. Second parameter is going to be the indexes of those value. Third parameter is going to be the array. So which array we are running? So the array, this one, the total array, this is going to be. These are all the three things that we have. So what is log here? Simply, if I say, if we can say simply, we can give this array a name. So what is the name we can give? Iterate, like this, right? So we can go here and we say, simply say value of it, right? We can simply say value of it and we run it. Yeah, after missing an argument. Okay, let's a minute. A or array dot, I need to use this for each method, and this is going to take a function. Okay, fine with that. I just say console.log, and this function is going to have three things inside this thing. So this is going to be the value. I just want to access the value of it. Okay, I just copy this one. Maybe it happens because of the JS bin. Okay, so we will go for our console. Okay, I just clear this and I just going to paste it here. Okay, so here also this throwing error. Okay, missing after argument list. Okay, I made in the spelling mistakes. Sorry, function it's going to be. Yeah, sorry for that. Clear. And here we have three things: value, and it is going to be the index, and the next one is going to be the array. Okay, we have three things. First, I log the value. So once I do it, you can able to see, we can able to, it is automatically do it. I don't tell where to start, what is the condition, what is the stopping point. No, it is iterated. So the work of for each is to run the function, on each and every element, right? That is the work of it. And first we see the value. Now we will go for the index. We will go for the second one, index. If I clear and run it, you can able to see value, index, value and index, value and index. So the value of an element and index of those element, right there, like that. And what is going to be the third parameter? It is going to be the array. So if I clear and if I run it, you can able to see value, index and the entire array that it belongs to. Value, index, the entire array. Like that we can able to use it. Okay, so this is going to be for each. It takes a function and it is going to run. It is going to run on each and every element. That is what it is going to do. Okay, but here there is a problem. So the for each method itself does not return anything. So it is iterating it. It just take the function. It is going to take a function, and this function is going to, whatever we are going to run, it is going to execute here. It is not returning it. For example, let us say, so whatever the result I'm getting here, I need to store it in another variable. We can do that. For example, we can do the doublet. I just say const num equal to, I'm going to have an array 1 2 3 4 5 6, something like this. This is going to be an array. So I need to access this each and every element. I need to create a doublet. What is mean doublet? I need to make one, it is going to be 2, 2 is 4, 34 is 64, 5 10 6 12, like that. I need to create it by using for loop. How we can do? First we need to call the num and we need to give dot. I just say for, this is going to be each, and here I just say the function, and the next one here it is going to take. and here I'm going to tell I need the value, and here if I say what we can say the function is going to return what is the value that it is going to return. It is going to fetch the value from that array and it is going to return the 2. If I do this, what's going to happen? It is going to return something, right? So I just simply say const result equal to this function. Fine. So if I do that, if I do something like this, and if I say go for console.log, and if I say result, now let us see let's guess what we're going to get. You're going to get this undefined. The reason for it, I already said that. So this for each function is not returning anything. Okay, it is going to execute the function. So if I want to create an array, I want to create a new array, then what we need to do? We need to create it. So I just going to tell, instead of doing this, we need to tell create a new array, and you need to add this method inside this function. So how we can do this? I just say const result. It is going to be an empty array, and once you fetch the value, inside this value you need to put all the things. So we discussed some of the array method. What are the array method? Push method, pop method. Among that push method, what it will do? It will add each and every value, whatever we are giving the value at the back of each and every array. So what we do, we just say call the result dot push. What is the value that I need to push into that array? So it is going to be value multiplied by 2. This is what I need to do. Fetch the value, multiply it by 2, and whatever you are doing, return it. That's it. Return at the place where it is doing. And even we don't want this return keyword. Okay. So because it is going to do this, and even this return keyword is not needed, right? Because it is going to affect the side effect, it is going to do this, right? So we are not this is not sending something, because we are creating an array. This is not sending something a single value and all, right? So it is going to do this. So the reason for this is the for each does not return itself anything. So whatever we need to do, we need to tell it in a function where the values go and how it is stored, like that we need to tell it. So this is one of the loops, like iterators that we have, not a loops. And some advanced thing that compared to for each we have is map. So what the map will do, the map method, so right now we see the loop, and compared to loop, the for each is well and good. The reason, we don't want to tell where to start, where to end, condition, no. It automatically iterates. We need to give the condition and the function what it do, right? So compared to for loop, for each is good. And compared to for each, map method, some of the ES6 concepts are good. The reason for is, for each method, it does not return anything. We need to tell where it's going to store and how it is stored. But map method, it itself creates an array of results. Okay, let's see how it is working. I just going to comment this. Okay, so I need to do the same thing of doublet. How can I do that? Mean, I just say num dot, instead of for each, we're going to say map, and this is also going to do the same thing, function. And here, what is the thing that we need? We need the doublet. I just say it is going to have the value, and I need to doublet it. And I just mentioned this value in here. This is the first parameter. We need only the value, then we're going to do it, right? So this is what we need to do. That's it, right? So what I going to do here, we use the return. So what it is going to do, the map method itself going to return, it is going to return an array. So if I say const result here, you can able to see that result. If I done this, you can able to see the same exact thing. So what is happening here? So the map method itself, it returns an array even if you don't return anything. Okay, I clear it. If I run it, you can able to see it. I'm not anything returning anything, right? Undefined, 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 undefined. Why it is happening? Because the map method creates a new array, and it will stores whatever, it is going to store whatever the result that we are going to fetch. For example, here I just say simply value. Once I done clear, it is going to do undefined. The reason for it, because we need to say the return keyword, because we have that return, right? Because it is returning something, we need to tell the return where to go. So if I clear and if I run it, you can able to see whatever the value, but this is different. This is a newly created array and this is going to be the original array. Okay, so here we can say multiply it by 5. So now we going to get the 5 times of those number, right? This is going to be the 5 times of those number, right? So this is going to be, this is what the map method do. It will returns a new array and it will store all the result that it is going to do. Okay, so that is what exactly it is going to do. Okay, so come on. So the next thing, what is going to be the next thing that we're going to have? So the next thing we're going to have is filter method. So what is the filter method? It is going to do exactly the same thing, but the name itself it is going to filter something. I just say const, it is exactly right. It is going to exactly like the map method, but it is going to check the condition and it is going to filter it. If I say map dot filter, and it is going to have the function, and here I just want the value, and inside this, instead of giving what it is going to return, I just we can give a condition to check. If the condition, if the what we can say, if the item that is get passed in that condition, then the values get go to the new array, or otherwise it will not. So for example, I simply say the value is greater than 2. If the value is, I just simply say value is greater than 2. So what the filter method is going to do, it is going to check for the condition. It is going to check for the condition, which all are the element going to return true, the boolean value true. Then it is going to store inside this result. Okay, it is going to store inside this result. Otherwise, what it is going to do, it is going to ignore it. So if I clear and I run it, okay, filter functions value, okay, I need to call the console, sorry, console.log, and I just say result like that. Clear? Just clear, run it, and you can see we will get the filtered array. So what are the things that satisfied? You can see this is the original array 1. It check for this 1 is not greater than 2, so it is false. So once it is false, so it is going to ignore, the filter method ignore that value. So and then it is go for 2, and it is going to ignore that value. So because 2 is not greater than 2, it is equal to 2, so it is going to ignore it. And we're going to have 34, 5, 6, those values are greater than 2, so then it is going to take it, it is going to filter it out. Exactly the same thing, if you go for Amazon and you are checking for mobile device, you are clicking the filter, what is happening? So we are filtering the data. What we do, we will filtering the data. So like in the database, if it is match, it is triple equal to mobile data, then you need to show this item. Otherwise you don't want to show this item. Like that we can able to do using this method. This is going to be the another method. And what is the handy thing it is? So it not only check for the condition, and also check for the values, whether it is truthy value or falsy value. For example, I make something like this and lot of empty array, empty string, and a string with value, and I just going to say null, and I just going to say undefined like this, and whatever we can give 0 like this. So let us consider this is the real world data that I am having like that. Okay, so if I simply say value instead of giving a condition, I say simply say value, then what it is going to do, let's see. If I clear and I run it, you can see 1 is there, 2 is there, 34 is there, 5 is there, 6 is there, and we are getting this JDFs the string value, but we are not getting this empty array and this empty string, this null and undefined. So what is get happen? So the filter method returns only the truthy value, just remember that, and the empty values or falsy values, and the empty string, this is going to be a falsy value. Null, if you convert the null value into boolean, that is falsy value. Undefined, falsy value. Zero, falsy value. So what all are the false values that are be available? For example, falsy value of JavaScript, or you can say boolean falsy values. You can simply get what all are the value that we have the falsy value. You can see undefined, null, not a number, zero, empty string, and false, of course, the boolean false, of course, right? So these all are the falsy value. Other than that, what we are having, like any values, a value, a string, number, other than this, -1 plus 10, like other than this, whatever the falsy, these are the falsy value, 0, -0, plus 0, whatever that, it is going to be false only. Okay, so other than these values, whatever we having inside in our array or in our data, that is considered as a truthy value. Okay, so what going to happen if I say value, it go for 1, so it is a truthy value. 2 truthy value, 34 truthy, 5 6 truthy, and you can able to see this all are false, and again this is a value, and that is going to be true, false, false, false. If it is false, the filter is not going to allow them. If it is true, it is going to allow them, right? So this is what is going to exactly happen. I did not understand completely. Which one? Can you tell which method that you are not able to understand? Okay, so which method? 21.5. So simple, the map method, what the map method will do, the map method returns an array. Okay, by default it is going to return an array. So whatever you are giving, it is going to map the value, and it is going to return, those value inside this variable. And once you have it, it is going to create a new variable with an array, and it is going to store all the result of it array. So the filter method, it is also going to do the exactly the same thing. What it is going to do, it is going to return a new array, and it is going to store the new result value. But map method just map through it, but filter method filter it, like it will check for the condition. If something is truthy value, then it is going to approve it, like it is take the value and put it in new array. If it is not truthy value, then it is not going to do this. Okay, it is not going to do this. So this is what the false truthy value and falsy values. Okay, so yeah, so I think, okay, fine. So this is going to be the array iterators, and this is going to be the ES6 array iterator that we have when it comes to React and so much of things. We will use this array iterator to work with some of the things. Okay, so the second thing, when it comes to ES6, what we're going to do, we're going to see about the scope. So what is the scope is going to be? What is the scope is going to be? Let me see. I already say what is the difference. We don't see about var. We have three things like let, and we have const. I simply say what I say. Don't use var. Use let and const, because var has some problem and it is pretty old, right? Let and const are newly introduced one, and we can able to use it, right? But we don't talk about what is actually the var. What is the problem that it has, right? We don't talk about that. Let's see what is that. Simply, var does not have a block level scope. That's it. Var does not have the block level scope. What is mean by this? For example, what is scope? Scope is nothing but the region that we can able to access a variable. For example, I create a variable, let a is equal to 10. Okay, like this. And I creating a function, and this is going to be name. I just going to call this as a name function, and I just going to call like this. Okay, so inside that function, if I can able to access this variable, outside the function, if I can access the variable, so this is what, so where we can access the variable, that is going to be scope. Okay, so here it is declared outside the function, right? So this is considered as global scope. Okay, I use the var keyword to do this. Okay, this is considered as the global scope. It will be accessible globally, inside the function, outside the function, wherever you want to access, you can able to access it. Okay, so for example, I simply say console.log a here, and I just say name like this, and I'm going to run it. You can able to see we can able to access the variable a outside the function. The reason how? Because this is a global scope. So once I declare it in a global in the document outside the function, it is considered as a global scope. Then what it is going to do, we can able to access inside the function, outside the function also we can able to access it. Okay, if I say a equal to 10, like here again we can go for console.log a, clear, and I run it. You can able to see this is going to be the function and this is going to be the newly done. So that is, we can able to access outside the function and we can able to access inside the function, both we can able to do it, right? So and also if I simply change a is equal to 3 like this, if I do this, you can able to see inside the function also it is get affected and outside the function also it is get affected, right? So this is what it will do, right? Instead of creating a global scope, if I created a scope inside a function, if I created a scope inside a function, then this is considered as a local scope. I use by using var, I created this and this is considered as a local scope. So what it is going to do, it is going to we can able to access this variable inside this function only. We are not able to access the variable outside. Okay, so this console is going to return us 3, but this is going to return as false. Let's see, for differentiate it, I just simply mention here inside, here I mention it outside like this. If I clear and I run it, inside is going to be 3, but a is not defined. We get an error outside it, we are getting error. The reason is, if I create a variable inside a function, then we can able to access the function. If we create a variable inside a function, we can able to access the variable inside the function only. We are not able to access the variable outside the function. That is not possible. So this is considered as a local scope. So when it comes to global scope, we can access wherever we want, but when it comes to functional scope, the local scope, it is accessible only inside the function, not outside the function. And that is well and good. Why I am creating a variable inside a function? Because I need to access only inside that, right? I don't want to access the outside world and all. I don't want to do that. So that is why it is going to be well and good. Okay, so the same thing if I do for block level. So what is meant by block level? Something other than the function, something that is wrapped with this curly braces, like loops, if conditional statement, like that, they have block level scope. For example, here we simply say true, right? So here I do exactly the same thing. Okay, so here you can notice that if I create a variable with var and I create inside the variable by using the keyword var, I created a variable inside the function a, we can able to access it only inside. The outside it is going to be written as error. It is going to return the error. The same thing I'm going to do it. I just going to copy it and I just going to paste it here, and I just uncomment of it, and here I just going to be local inside, I just say block level, and you can notice that var a is equal to 3 and console.log inside a. If I clear and I run it, you can see, yeah, of course it is working, and a is equal to 3 and inside it is working, right? So the same thing if I do for outside, console dot outside the curly braces I'm trying to access. So I just say outside a. If I do this, clear, run, you can able to see still it is accessing. What is the problem? Here you can see the same thing, same variable I created inside a function. We can able to only access the access the variable inside the function only, and when I try to access outside the variable outside the function, we are not able to do that. The same thing in if statement, in the block level, I am creating a variable inside the block. I am trying to access inside, it is working perfect. And if I try to access outside the block level also, it is working. This is what actually I don't want. Just think about that. I'm creating a loop. That variable is accessible for outside, then how it's going to be, right? We can able to have so much of error and so much of problem that we can able to face, right? So that is what exactly happening here. So what simply means, here you can see var does not have block level scope. The mean is var have global scope. We can able to access anywhere. and var have local scope, right? Once I declare a var with a variable with var, we can access it inside a function only. We are not able to access the variable outside the function. The same thing if I do with the block level, var has no scope inside the block level. It is still like an global scope. Okay, it's not a global scope, but it is still like that only. We can able to access inside also, outside also. So this is what the problem with var. Not only this, there is another problem also, and that's we see in the concept of hoisting. So var makes a little bit like var make that concept hoisting and all. Okay, so this is the main difference when it comes to scope. So var has global scope, var has local scope, but it does not have block level scope. So you are creating a variable inside the block level by using var keyword. We can able to access that variable inside also and outside also, and that is no purpose of it. The same thing, if I change this one to let, if I change this one to let, and if I run it, you can see inside it is going to be 3 and error is throwing outside. The reason for it, let is the newly updated one. It has all the 3 things. We can globally declare it. So once I declare a variable globally, we can able to access everywhere, outside the function, inside the function, outside the block level, inside the block level, we can able to do it. But when I declare a variable with let inside a function, it is accessible only inside a function. When I declare a variable with let inside a block level, it is accessible only inside that curly braces. We are not able to access outside word, right? So this is a new universe and this is a new universe when it comes to let. Okay, so that is the main difference between var and let and const. So const also same, exactly, the scope is same. It has 3 scope. Let and const has 3 scope: function scope, global scope, and block level scope. But var does not have block level scope. That is the main issue here. Okay, so that is going to be the main issue when it comes to block level scope. Okay, so right now you are able to understand this one, right? You can able to understand this one, right? So this is going to be the main difference when it comes to scoping. Okay, so this is the main concept where we, okay, just a minute, this is a main concept where we are discussing with the ES6. Okay, so because the let and const has been declared in the ES6, and we know what is the difference between let and const. Let is reassignable, but var, like const, is not reassignable. We are not able to do that, right? So that is the main difference between let and const. But var, simply avoid it because it has so much of it has so much of problem. And not only this, the concept like hoisting we will discuss in the tomorrow class, maybe for the hoisting concepts and all. Okay, we will discuss that. And this, for scoping, this is going to be the main problem. Okay, so the second thing what we're going to do, we're going to create how we can able to create object. So right now we know how to create an object, right? So how we create it, we simply say const, and I say like I want to create a core object. I just say core, and what we will do, we will use the syntax. And what is the brand of the core? I just say brand, and it is going to be Audi. And the next thing what I just want to do, just give a comma, and what is going to be the, what's going to be the what we can say, model. What is going to be the model? It's going to be 2022, and we can say the price, and I just say 12,000, like this, not this, even this. Okay, no problem with that. And I just going to create a method. I just say start. Okay, if someone starts this core function, and I just say, I just simply say in the console.log, instead of console.log, we can say return car dot brand is starting, like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, so let's see, this is how the way that this is how we will create an object, right? So if I want to create another car, for Audi I created it, I want to create the same exact structure for another car. How can I do it? Well, we need to do exactly the same thing. What we do, we just copy, paste it. This is going to be car 2, right? And instead of Audi, it's going to be Volvo, right? and here it's going to be 2002 model, not so much of 0 when it's Volvo. I just simply say this 0, that's fine. Okay, so like this, if I want to create another car, we need to copy again, right? So this is not a great way, right? We are not, we cannot copy and paste it for each and every variable, and you can see that we how many objects that we are creating it, and you can see this, it is repeating the code, only the values are changing, only the id model and these values are changing, but this properties are same. Start this function, it's going to be same, and this brand it's same, model same, price same, it is also true, but we are repeating something. So there is a principle in code. What is the principle in code? Try, don't repeat it, right? So that is a, we need to follow that principle, right? So how can we avoid this? So here comes something called as classes. So the classes are the newly used for creating object. We have before that, what we have, factory function, constructor function, and we have prototypes, and we have, right now we have classes, the easy way of creating it. So what the classes exactly mean? The classes are like blueprints for creating objects. So by using the blueprints, we can create n number of classes without repeating the code. Let's see how we can do that. I just going to say, for creating classes, we need to say class, and here you need to tell what is the class that you need to create. I just going to create a call, and inside that we have a method called constructor. Make sure that spelling you return is correct. I think it's correct only. Okay, so what this will do, so here only we will tell what are the properties that our constructor, okay, yeah, it's correct only. Okay, so here only we will tell what are the properties that object going to have. For example, we can say, if someone calls, I just explained the code afterwards, someone calls this dot brand, this is going to be the brand, and where we get this brand from, where this get from the brand from, we will get it from the place where this classes get declared. So I just say where the new here. So now you can see we are accessing the brand. It is nothing but it is a function that is defaultly available in the JavaScript. By using the constructor function, we can able to pass the property, like this parameter is going to take value from where the object is going to declare. For example, this is going to be the brand, right? So I'm just going to copy this for three more things, and this is for model, and this is for price, right? So here I just want two more parameters, model, and this is going to be price. Model, this is going to be price. So this is going to be the blueprint. I will explain how it is working and all once we create an object. So let us see how we can create an object by using this blueprint. So what we need to do, we just want to tell what is the object that's going to do. So I'm just going to say this is going to be car1. So what is the car1? I need to use this blueprint. So for that, you need to use the new keyword, and you need to call this one. And you can notice that it is in caps letter, right? So it is a great way to differentiate the normal function and also the constructor function or the classes like that with capital letter. So because it is going to construct something, right? So if you capitalize, it will be understand. And here what I'm going to do, once I call the class, I can able to give the parameter, like the arguments. So this, whatever the value that here I am going here, these values are taken by this parameter. Okay, right now the order is very important. Brand. So what is the brand is going to be? So the brand, I just say OD. And what is the model it's going to be? It's going to be 2022. And what is the price is going to be? Something like this. Like this. Okay. So once I done it, I just going to say console.log car1. If you run this code, you can able to see an object is created with brand ID, model, and price also. Go here, go for the console, clear it, run it. You can see exactly the same how it is created, right? So now just look into it. I don't here the problem is solved, right? So if I want to create another car for Volvo, so I just simply say car2, and here Audi, this is going to be Volvo 2002, remove 20, that's it. And car 2 is created. I just say car 1 comma car 2. We clear, run it. You can see this is car 1, this is car 2, and you can notice that here in writing code we are not repeating the words brand, model, price. We are not repeating it, right? So we have only one blueprint, and by using the blueprint we can able to create how many object that we want. We can able to create it, how it is working. That is very important. You can see this keyword. So what is the this keyword mentioning here is that this keyword is something where the object is called, right? So where the object is declared. So here the car1 is calling this classes, right? So this keyword is nothing but car1. If it is car2 calling that, then this keyword is dynamic. So it is going to be car1 when it is calling car1. When it is going to go car2, this is going to be car2. Okay, so this is how it works. So this new keyword, so this is one that if we use the constructor function and all, we use this new keyword. And also the new keyword is one that is responsible, that is changing the this to understand. You need to focus here. So this has a dynamical scope. We will see the this keyword, discuss about this keyword pretty later. So right now just understand this new keyword make the this to take this car1 as their like it is substitute. So instead of this we can use the car1. If it is car2, this keyword is replaced with car2. Simply we can say car1 dot brand and clear, run it. We will get Audi. So how we are getting, because here we programmed it. So this is dynamic and it is going to take whatever comes here, whatever it's calling here. So now this is a substitute of car1. So if I say, if someone calls car1 dot brand, then what you need to return? You need to return brand. So what is brand? It is coming from the parameter. So this parameter, where it is getting the value, it is getting the value from here, argument, right? So it is getting the value from here. So what it is going to do, if we call car1 dot brand, that this is the substitute of car1, and if I say call this and this Audi is taken here and it is stored the value, it is going to show it here, right? So this is what it is going to do. And if I make this to car2, now what it is going to do? So this, now it is the substitute for the car2, right? So now car2 dot brand. So now it is going to focus here. So it is going to be the brand. Now it is going to be car2. So then it's going to go for Volvo, and here we run it, we will get the Volvo. Okay, right? Yeah, fine. Thank you so much, Nicole. Okay, so this is what this classes will do, right? So the next thing is, here you can see the repetition stopped, right? We are not repeating the brand every time. We are not repeating it. We stopped it, right? So, and one more thing, what if I want to give a method for this? Then this is going to be a method. Constructor is going to be a default method that are available in object, right? So what is the method will do? The method is creating properties for us, right? So if you want to create a new property, like new method, you can directly create after this constructor. You can able to create it. So what is the method? Start. If someone calls the start, then here you can directly create something like this. Like you can create the function, and you can say you can able to give this like this. So you can able to do this. When it comes to classes, instead of doing this, you can remove this function and you can directly tell like this. So start, just give the parenthesis and tell whatever the function that you need to do. So if someone going to call start, so then this function is going to execute. So here I just say return, instead of car1 or car2, I just say this, because if I use this, then this is going to change according to the object that is newly created. So I just say this dot brand, and use the plusing sign, and I say is starting, like this, right? If I clear it, we clear this one, and if I use the car2 dot start, and for method we need to use this parenthesis. Once I done, if I run it, you can see undefined starting boom. The reason for this is here we don't have access for this one, right? We are not having access for this one. So for that, what we need to tell? We need to tell what is that we need to access it. Okay, so that's what we need to tell when it comes to the property. Okay, I think this is here, this one we make the mistake here. So because this keyword is dynamically changed, so if I say this dot brand, then it's going to go for whatever it is going to call. If I run it, Volvo starting, boom. If I go for one, clear, and I run it, you can see Audi is starting because this is dynamic. So this represent before whatever the object that is calling here. Okay, so here car1 is calling here. So if I say this dot brand, so it is going to be car1 dot brand. If car2, then it's going to be this dot brand, car2 dot brand. So likewise it is get changed, and this is what the classes is of. Okay, so that's it for today. So we have completed, we have get started with the ES6. Okay, so tomorrow class we will complete all the ES6 concepts, classes inheritance, hoistings, clauses, and some other things like we have destructuring properties, rest operators, so much of things we are having, we completed. Right now whatever the property like async, like for each map, filter, and the scoping, that's also considered as that they are also ES6 concept. Have a look into it. Okay, so if you have any doubt, contact us in the TWD WhatsApp group and we will help you there. Okay, see you, bye.